Good morning. It's day 2 of the secret weapon challenge. With ninjas. I am still receiving messages from folks about John Galan's incredible performance yesterday in his capacity to deal with real estate agents in a transparent, ethical, yet like expansive way, right? Transparent. He was super real with people. He was telling people exactly some of what his intentions are. He was not rude. He was also highly engaging, right? Like every time he would get an agent on the phone, you could just see the wheels turning. He was trying to be problem solving, and that's where his conversation started to gain expansion. And because of that, he was able to pitch different opportunities like novation agreements or creative finance. And to me, guys, this is the epitome of real estate investing. It's accumulating the different tools that you're going to need to create better deal structure. Now, deal structure is important, but what is a deal without a buyer? And that is the topic of today, building better buyers with Britney Barryman. Come on now. How many of you guys have ever seen the amazing Britney Barryman? I call her the amazing Britney Barryman because she's legitimately a superhero in my mind. If I was ever to imagine what a superhero on planet Earth would be, it would be Britney Barryman. She is extremely busy, right? It's building better buyers with busy Britney Barryman. Okay, let's just say that. She's incredibly busy. This woman works a 9-to-5 job. She's got two she's got two kids that are highly just engaged in life. One of them is an actor, like a real actor in television shows, and so she's taking him to auditions all the time. The other one is a football player who's got practice and all the things. She trains 2 hours a day in CrossFit. She's a professional competitive CrossFitter, and she makes on average $50,000 a month in her wholesale business. So I want to just address this concept that for those of you that have 9-to-5 jobs, some of you guys have taken time off work to be here. And for those of you that did take time off work, I thank you. I thank you for you. I thank you for taking the time and putting out the effort to do something that's going to help you in your life. We know that as you gain experience in the techniques that we use, that what's on the other side of this is financial freedom. And we're trying to pull you through that door. And you see all of the time that myself, Pace Morby, Brent Daniels, Jerry Norton, Steve Trang, all of the folks that I can attest to that have the right heart in this business, we just spend a tremendous amount of time and effort because we know that we've been gifted with experience and knowledge. And the only way that we're going to be able to get you guys across the line is by sharing that experience and knowledge. So welcome to day 2 of the Secret Weapon Challenge, where we will share our experience and knowledge with you. Now, I've been also getting a ton of DMs from folks saying, hey, I haven't received the offer sheet from John yesterday. Guys, bear with us. Please understand that these challenges are challenging. They take time, and my team, I don't have a huge team. I do. I have a huge team in my wholesale business, but in my personal life, like I've got a small group of handlers, right? I got a small group of folks. And this is not something that I'm doing exclusively through Astro flipping. Otherwise, you'd be paying for this. This is something that I'm doing as service to the public. And so because of that, this falls on the shoulders of my personal team. And my personal team are just a few people. And it's just going to take us time to get that out to you guys. So please have patience. Understand that you will receive it. And I thank all of you that took action yesterday and are going to see us at Scale and Escape. Emily, would you come and say hi to us?
Hey guys.
Guys,
You always throw me off, Jamil.
I want to keep you on your toes. I always feel like I can tell when you're about to get up and like go get a drink or go pick up Sky. And as soon as I see your body do that, I say, Emily,
come on. Hello.
Guys, can we give it up for Emily, please? Everybody, just throw your appreciation, your like positive vibes, all your love, open your heart, and just whoosh it at that woman. She is the rock star behind a lot of what we put together here, organizing it, creating infrastructure, making sure that I stay on topic. Like you guys understand, I have a lot of things going on in my life, and I'm a whirlwind, right? And so she's got to sometimes just be like, "Yo, dude, shh, focus." And we appreciate that. We appreciate all of the just undying effort that you put into the community and in helping me and in helping Astro and helping Sub 2 and all of the people that are affected by the things that you don't even know she's doing for you. So send that gratitude to Emily this morning, guys. And Bobby is not in my room right now, but if we can all send some love to
Yes.
Bobby. Bobby gets over here in the morning and makes sure he helps me get showered. I'm kidding. He doesn't do that, but he makes sure that my camera is set up. He makes sure that I'm all lit up, and so that I'm able to do this. And so, again, just want to send gratitude out to Bobby Canode. For those of you that don't know Bobby Canode, that's Bobby Two Hands. You might know him as Bobby Two Hands. Bobby Two Hands is the reason why you can actually see me, because he's got the camera set up, the lighting, the microphones. Guys, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So they are my team, and they absolutely rock. We got about 500 of you on the stream right now. I imagine that number will grow slightly, but see how this goes. Day 1, we have 800 people. Day 2, we have 500 people, 600 people probably. Day 3, day 4, and the numbers will keep going down. And that's just how it goes, right? Not all of us have the fortitude to stay in it. And I'm not making you feel bad. If you had to go to work today and you couldn't make it here live, it's fine. I get it. Life happens. But there's something that I'm really interested in trying to get to the bottom of a phenomenon, is how we as people can figure it out, right? Figuring it out. Because there was a moment in my life about 8 years ago when I was just coming to Phoenix, and get a little longer than that, maybe 10 years ago, when I was just coming to Phoenix and starting again in wholesaling here. And I was in desperate need of some money. My wife had contracted a really deadly super bug, and she was like dying in front of me. And I could not afford the $6,000 prescription that was needed to save her, to ultimately kill this thing. And in America, they won't just give it to you. You figure it out or you die. And so I figured it out. I figured out a way. And for all of you right now that are looking at the day and looking at life, looking at how busy you are, when you listen to Britney Barryman talk today, this is a person who figures it out. It doesn't matter what's on her plate. She figures it out. She's got to work out 2 hours a day. I figured it out. She's got to get the kids to audition. She's got to get the kids to practice. I figure it out. She's got to be a wife to her amazing husband. She figures it out. She's got to work a 9-to-5 job. She figures it out. She's got to get $50,000 to $70,000 a month in revenue from her wholesale business. She figures it out. She needs to build a team so she can delegate. She figures it out. She's got to do 2 hours of CrossFit. Wait till you see her shoulders. She figures it out. Figure it out. All right. Now, before I bring her on in normal fashion, I don't like to get these things started without a prayer. So if that is going to offend you, for the next 30 seconds, do me a favor and mute me. But if you'd like to join us, here we go. Father God, we love you so much, Lord. Thank you for today. Thank you for opening all of our eyes and giving us breath, for giving us the minds to connect and communicate with each other. God, we are so grateful for that. Lord, we pray that you guide each of us to your purpose for our lives, so that the steps we take are your steps, the words we say, your words, the actions we take, your actions. God, we pray that you guide us to those individuals that'll be of benefit to us, either through a financial gain or through a lesson we need to learn. And we ask that you deflect us from those individuals that'll waste our time or bring us harm. Lord, for any of our family members with us today that are in need of any higher understanding of the concepts that we'll teach today. God, we just pray for perfect clarity in their minds. And Lord, for any of us that are in need of any physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual healing, God, we just pray for perfect healing in our lives. And Lord, it is with humble hearts and in your heavenly name we pray. Amen. All right, folks, let's get it going. Emily, let's see the star.
Hey!
Britney Barryman.
Whew, how are you?
I'm amazing. I just am always overwhelmed with how much I adore you, how grateful I am for our friendship, for your being a part of my family. Not only are you a rock star Astro flipper, we do deals together. Like my company and you do business, like real business. You've added to our top line tremendously. And so because that, how cool is that, guys? Like, Britney knew nothing about this type of real estate, I believe, when she came and found Astro flipping, and then learns this process, gets into it, starts crushing it. And then we start doing deals together. Think of that. Think of how wonderful it can be when you are helping people, when you're teaching people, when you are pushing people in the direction of positivity and growth in their life. And then when that finds a way to bless you back. And this is what we're watching happen with our relationship with Britney Barryman. Britney, if you would, can you just share with those? We've got around 600 people on right now watching, and I'd like them to hear from you just how you got here and what's been working just in general before we get into the topic.
Absolutely. So thank you first and foremost for having me. I am so pumped to be here. And as I go on, when I get excited, I get so excited about this stuff. So if I start talking fast, it's because I'm excited. So I'll start slowing down and speeding up. But man, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of you who may be new to Jamil, maybe new to what we're about to talk about here, maybe new to what we're talking about this week. But remember, every single one of us that are talking this week all started where you are. I literally learned everything that I know from Jamil and from Astro. It seems like it's been much longer than a year, but literally May of 2021 is when I started. Like,
wow,
dug in, signed up with Astro, got the course, went right in and took action. I think that was the number one thing, taking action. But then also just being mindful and listening and following processes. And then like once you see there's a proof of concept, it's real. It becomes real to you. And when it became real to me, it was like, okay, I can do this. How many can I do? And then I ended up doing over 60 deals in a year. So once you do one, it just keeps going. I think once you prove to yourself that the process works. And if you listen to my podcast with Jamil, we did a few months ago, right?
Yeah, to the moon. Yep.
I talk about processes, and so many people will, just deviate and they try to, chase this, chase that. But what you learn here, what you're going to learn this week from all of us, I mean, just please take notes. I think there may be a recording. Man, you got to take some notes today. But yeah, so when I started, again, not knowing anything, I'm not going to say it was easy, because all of us know, when you put the work into it, it's not easy. It feels easy. All of us would do it. But as I got comfortable in doing this, I was able to kind of just shift my focus. And even like this year, starting to take a step back of doing a lot of the acquisitions and trusting partners and trusting teams like Keegley, like where we work together. And what I'm going to talk to you about now, like where I find buyers, that's why we're able to do deals together, because they know I'm going to find a buyer. And I want to help you guys to understand and how to do the same thing, how you can do deals with Jamil and with his company, with all the Keegley franchises, and not even just whomever. You get a deal, you get it under contract yourself, whether it's JVing, whether it's from a agent outreach, whatever you do, you have to find a buyer. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about that.
And guys, I want to just give you an understanding of that when she says deals with Keegley, here's the thing. So many people just say, okay, yeah. In their mind, they say Keegley Dispo. And then they just keep that in their head and they're like, oh, if Keegley has deals, they're going to dispo the deals. There's not an opportunity for me to dispo Keegley's deals. Guys, let me open up a gate for you right now. Okay, of understanding. So yeah, we've got buyers, but we've also got a big team, and there's also things take time. And if you are like really good, and if you're really laser focused on finding buyers, there's massive opportunities of getting deals from Keegley and selling them to buyers. How many deals would you say go that direction for you, Brittany, where you get a deal from Keegley and then you go find a buyer?
I would say half of my deals a month are with Keegley.
So just think of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be one direction. It's both directions. And every deal, we are all buyers and sellers. We are all buyers and sellers. So just because Keegley's dispoing a deal doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity for you to bring a buyer. And today she's going to walk you through the process of how you could literally get onto Keegley's website, look at inventory that's available, do what she's showing you to do today, and connect the dots. Think of that. Guys, think of this process. You go to Keegley. They've got whatever inventory available.
Yeah.
You use the process Brittany's going to teach you today to find buyers, laser focused finding buyers. Okay. You match up one of Keegley's deals with one of those buyers and it spits out a check. And she says half of her deals are done that way every month. Yep. Brittany, what is your monthly revenue?
My monthly revenue, mind you, this is while having a full-time job. My monthly revenue is about 30 to 50K a month. So that's on average. That's from the time we started to we've kept up with that. Now we have up and down months, but some months where we have 6-figure months kind of, balances out those months that are lower. So on average, we have about 30 to 50K a month. And it's just having, again, I'm going to say this over and over and over again. You can get as many contracts as you want, but if you don't have a buyer, you don't have a deal. And I can't wait. I think so. Even with what John taught yesterday, locking those properties up right, and speaking with agents, that's where it starts. Because you have to remember, you're not, as a wholesaler, we're typically not the end buyer. So you always have to be thinking like your end buyer. And because I think in the way of the end buyer, which sometimes I am, then I go in with confidence in getting deals from companies like Keegley, where I know it's being assigned to me without an option, but I have buyers that are lined up ready to take those on. So if you think of, like Jamil said, like Keegley has a whole acquisition side. Like that's what we're taught. If you're going through the micro flip model, this is it for you. It's literally laid there for you. So
yeah, and think about that. Like you don't have to. If you're right now in your situation, if you're looking at your life right now, you're like, man, I'm like negative in the bank account. I'm struggling. I really just need to get my hands on a check. The fastest way to do that is to work a live contract, right? Going and getting a deal under contract it's going to take you longer. I mean, agent outreach is a pipeline, right? But if you're just like, I got to wake up, I have to get money in the next 7 days. If that's a real thing for you, this process can help you get that. I'm not guaranteeing that you'll get a check in 7 days. I'm saying if you do the work, that it can happen for you. And how that happens is you work a live contract that you get from Keegley or other wholesalers. Keegley is like a great place because it's a marketplace. We've got all of the deals there. So many wholesalers send us their opportunities that we do the work for you.
And it's comped right.
And it's comped right. And the ARV is right. So then now you don't even have to go through the brain damage of comping and finding out ARV, none of that. You just go get the deal, do what Brittany's going to teach you today, and connect the dots. Connect the dots. Oftentimes, these deals close in 7 to 10 days. And that means that gets you paid in 7 to 10 days. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, doing what Brittany teaches you today, finding 4 deals from Keegley's website, finding 10 buyers from what Brittany teaches you today, connecting the dots, one of those dots following through to the end, and in 7 days, picking up your dang check.
Yep.
And then on day 8, I want you to go and I want you to kick your boss right in the.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
I don't.
Inside joke, guys. Inside joke.
It's just because like it's you know we gotta really take control of our situation. And there's you know I nothing against W-2 jobs, right? Nothing against guys. I almost have a W-2 job being on a TV show. Like I gotta clock in, I clock out. I got a VP of the network that you know I answer to. I got showrunners that I have to. I'm in a life now like that, and it's cool. I purposely put myself in there. I don't do it for the money. I do it because it's fun. I get to hang out with Pace. I get to hang out with Rahima. I get to flip beautiful houses and have fun. But you know, so I have nothing against being in a structured environment, having a job. What I have something against is financial slavery. I take absolute is shackle you, man. They'll never pay you enough to be their neighbor.
Yep. Let that sink in, y'all. Your CEO will never pay you enough to be his neighbor.
That's what hurts me. That's what hurts me. Is that if you can't earn enough money in the job that you're working right now to live next door to the guy who runs the company, then you are not in the right place.
And why can't you? Like, what makes you different from that person? I mean, there's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why you shouldn't, especially if you're a hard worker, especially if you have the skill set, the mind, the education, the knowledge to do it. You're doing the work anyways, right?
I mean, 1,000,000%, right? You're just getting in, you're doing the thing. And it's like, that's to me, like, so for instance, we've got reps at Keegley who make 30, 40 grand a month. They could be my neighbor. They don't live, my neighbors haven't come up for sale, but any one of my reps that gets in and does the work could come and live right next door to me. They'd be able to afford it.
Yep. The team that I've started to build, I've told them, you know, my goal isn't, my hope is that as you get really, really good at this, my hope is that you will be able to branch off and do this on your own. And then you and I can JV deals together. That's my hope. And that's my goal. So, hey, anybody out there want to join the team? I'm looking for acquisition specialists. So.
Hey, all right. So let's get into a little bit of infrastructure before she starts. So guys, how do we find you, Britney?
You can find me, number one, you can find me on IG.
Everybody write this down.
At the Brit Barryman, BRITT Barryman. So there it is in the chat. I actually have to change it from She Lifts. That was my Instagram name for the longest.
It was hard for people to get the OO. They didn't know if it was OH or OO or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and I'm like, I'm doing more than lifting now, so I got to be like just the Brit Barryman.
She's the Britney Barryman, and you are the Britney Barryman. Incredible. Is there any other contact information you want to deliver?
Yeah. Also, if you have deals out there, as y'all talk about, I'm in the Texas market. A lot of people find that market really hard because you can't comp and yada, yada. I started the Texas market while living in California. So if you have deals in Texas, actually jump on my website. I have a form where you can fill out. It's fortifiedacq.com/dispo my deal. It's in the chat there too. So if you have deals, click on that link. You just fill out a form, send your deal, and we'll find a buyer. So
Britney, would you be open to doing a private coaching session one time with the people who took action today and signed up with Privy and are working and want to do deals with you? Would you be open to doing that?
100%. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Guys, if you want to have a private coaching session with Britney where she will help you walk through how you can make deals with her, do business with her, change your financial destiny in an instant, what you want to do is you want to go to the website www.runprivy. That's runprivy.com. 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 Don't let any other website name get into your head. runprivy.com and use the code SWC2022 and that will be it.
Yeah, right? You do that and I'm yours. Let's go one-on-one.
If you already have Privy, then you are absolutely okay. Don't worry about it. If you already have Privy, what you need to do is send me a DM. And guys, again, forgive me. It's going to take us some time to respond, but just send me a DM. Say, hey, I've got Privy, and I want to attend Britney Barryman's coaching session. Here's my email address. Okay, so, and if you don't have Privy yet, then go get it. Runprivy.com. They're still giving you 20% off. Runprivy.com. 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 Promo code SWC2022. And everything she's going to teach you today is on Privy, so you need it.
You do. You do. And I'll even one up you. So again, like I said, everything I've learned has been from Astro. It took me from learning how to wholesale to learning how to become a real estate investor myself, to learning how to work and speak with hard money lenders, learning how to find buyer, all of it. So if you also become, I know a lot of you are Astro students, but if you're not, and you're like on the fence and you sign up through Astro, you sign up for Astro and you learn all of this stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, it's too much. Can you break it down for me? I will be there for you one-on-one to break it down for you.
Damn.
If you guys sign up for Astro. I will send you my
Can't you get them a discount? Can't you get them a discount for signing up too?
I can get you a discount. I can get you $500 off whatever you sign up. So
whoa,
go for it. And
what's the ROI been for you on your Astro? Can you just tell us? And
can I tell you my story? When I signed up, I literally mind you, there's all these coaching programs out there. I listened to all the salespeople talk and yada yada yada. When I got on the call with Astro, I literally told myself, I don't want just another program that I can YouTube and Google all this stuff and find out myself. I was like, I need a community. I need people that are going to hold my hand because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. He goes, that's what we do. I was like, okay, well, if I start, what is like, can you guarantee my success rate? He was like, can you put the work in? I was like, okay, y'all, from the day I signed up, I could now, and I'm a preface this isn't, again, it's all about the work you put in. It's all about what you do. Everyone's situation is different. But from the day I signed up to the day I closed my first deal was literally 30 days. And I made double what I paid for Astro. So
in your first deal?
My first deal. I closed my first deal within 30 days. And immediately after I closed another 3 properties that following month. So it was a no-brainer for me. I would do it over and over and over and over and over again, just from the stuff that I've learned. And now the stuff that I'm able to pass on to my kids, because like my 16-year-old is now wanting to wholesale. So it's changed our life. And you've grown our family. So many people. I mean, I look at people who get referred, and I see how many folks that you have referred over to us. And to me, that's the most heartwarming testimonial I could ever get, is you bringing a friend or a family member to the community. Like that to me is proof of concept. Like, I know I did a good job for you when you go and bring your family members, when you go bring your friends, when you shout from the rooftops, this stuff's real, come get rich. Like, when you do that, that's what moves the needle for me, because I know that I did a damn good job for you. Yeah. And I'm not going to share something that, I'm held accountable, right? Like, once I share this, once I say, hey, this is what I do, people are like, what do you do? This is what I do. I'm held accountable. So I'm not going to share something that I think isn't helpful or isn't real. Funny story, John Galan, who led the call yesterday, he said he listened to the Secret Agent Challenge. I was day 1, and he was like, that was for his first introduction into what we do. And now look at y'all, John is now leading this stuff. So
full circle, look at that, right? full circle moment. Full circle. And it's like, This to me is why I wake up in the morning. This is what gives me juice. And now we've got nearly 700 people on the live stream ready to learn how to build better buyers. Busy Britney Barryman.
I love that. Build better buyers with busy Britney Barryman. How many B's is that? BBBW. I'm gonna
build better buyers with busy Britney Barryman, coming to you live from Texas. Are you in Texas right now?
I am in Texas right now. And then,
and you're building your dream house, aren't you?
I am building the house that Astro built. Like, I say that,
I am coming to your housewarming party, by the way.
You have to.
1,000,000%.
Like, January 2021, I remember visualizing what I wanted my house to be, and there was no way in the world that was going to happen. And to this day, like right now, this moment, cabinets are in my dream house, and brick is going up. y'all, from January 2021 till what, August 2022.
How
Like,
big is your new house?
it is 3,200 square feet on 2.5
Hey.
acres.
Come on, guys. 3,200 square feet on 2.5 acres, all from profits that came from Astro
Astro.
flipping.
It's cool because like even the stuff that they send, like they're like, well, I'm like, hey, I want these doors instead of this. Or I want that. I just, after I take, do taxes and all that stuff from the wholesale profits that we get, it's like, oh, we can afford that. We can make those changes without. Anywho, like,
All right.
I want all y'all to
She's
experience this. I
gushing.
really
She's
do.
gushing. I'm gushing at just the ability to have been a part of that. So, Brittany, I love you, and you're gonna do incredible today, guys. This is just gonna be a mind-bending dive into how Brittany Barryman is finding better buyers on Privy. Take it away.
All right. Well, hello, y'all. I'm just honored to be here. Honored to show you guys this, and I know you guys have been waiting, so I won't linger on too much. And I want some activity in the chat here. This is going to be a cool, casual conversation. I'm going to show you all some things. I just want to wow you, and I want you to. I want to utilize your time wisely. So, in the chat, I know a lot of you are brand new. Some of you have been doing this for a while. Some of you have locked up contracts. How many of you have locked up contracts and you get so excited, you're so pumped, yet you do not have a buyer for those contracts? Let me see it in the chat. I want to see it. You lock up contracts, you're like, yes, this is awesome. And then dang it. Here we go. I only have a 5-day option. And all right, here we go. Day 3. I still don't have a buyer. And you're putting it out there. You're putting it out to everybody, yet you don't have a buyer, or you don't even know how to find a buyer. You got stuck. You're like, oh, shoot. So this is what I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys a few ways. As we all know, there's a few ways you can find buyers. I'm going to list all those things out. But some of those ways are expensive. And if you're new getting into this, you're not going to want to spend $20,000 marketing dollars to send out direct mail to find buyers. So look at that. I see what Isaac says. I've been there 10 times. Everybody's me. The market, I like the market, crazy, no buyer. Yeah, I mean, the market, even right now, we're like, hold on, this market's supposed to be shifting. Like, we're supposed to be getting deals better. But now it's even tougher to find buyers, because if you've experienced, even like myself, where you have sellers who still for some reason think that the market is as it was in March of 22 and they won't come down on their price, and then you have buyers who know that the market isn't like it was in 2022 and they want the deal, they want a lower price, which they should. You're not finding those two to meet in the middle. However, once you get those properties locked up on a contract at a great price, you want to have buyers that are ready to go. My saying is that you don't have a deal if you don't have a buyer. You have a contract, you do not have a deal if you don't have a buyer. Put the cherry on top. Even if when you're dealing with like a listing agent or whatever, you have your listing agent and you have your buying agent. I always say the buying agent is the selling agent, because that listing agent would never sold that property without that buyer's agent bringing the deal to, or bringing the buyer to the closing table. So buyers and wholesaling are like key to the success of your business. I mean, it just is what it is. I'd rather have, a buyer than the properties under contract, although I need the properties. I'm to a point now where I have buyers texting me like, hey, do you have any deals here? Do you have any deals there? Hey, send me what you have here. This is what I'm looking for. And they'll send me a map with like an outline of the exact area. Hey, get me some deals in this area. Buyers, those are my A buyers that are doing that because I've built relationships with them. So tell me in the chat, do you typically get a property under contract and look for a buyer second? Or do you look for a buyer first? I just want to see what audience I have. Do you look for the buyer first and then get the property under contract? I want to see who we have in this community right now. I like to do both. It's like, why not do both? And I'm going to show you how to do both. I see buyers first, a little bit of both, contract first. I get the contract and then the buyer. Yeah, I mean, and that's, there's no wrong way, but there is an easier way. There is a less stressful way. I think that's the way I want to put it. So what you want and what I want to teach you guys is how to find those A+ buyers, like those buyers that, okay, I'm going to send this person a contract, I'm going to send them a deal, and I know they're going to go for it. But first, like, let's talk about the type of buyers you have. You have number one, sometimes you have the wholesalers who position themselves as buyers, and you're sending your deals out to wholesalers, not realizing they're a wholesaler, and they're saying they're a buyer, and they're just pinging you with tons of questions, and they're like, well, let me run it through this. Let me do this. Let me get underwriting. And it's like, okay, are you really a buyer or not? Be careful of that too. If you're going to wholesale a property, or if you plan on just be real. Like, hey, I might buy it, but then I also might wholesale it. Great. I don't mind dealing with wholesalers. Just be real with me. You have the looky-loo buyers, the buyers who are like, well, I need to go look at it. And they spend, 30 minutes running through, or they say, okay, I'm ready to buy. And what can I get this? What can I get that? Oh, send me a deal. And you send them all these deals, and they never take action. They're the looky-loo buyers. And then you have the buyers who are like, hey, I can buy it sight unseen. Send me all the information. All I need to see is pictures. And I just need to know at some point before close of contract, I will be able to get inside of the property. So those are your three types of buyers. Of course, the one that we want to work with is the one who will take action, the one who will buy sight unseen, the one who, even if they do see it, they're ready to put E&D in that day. We know that they are cash buyers. We know that they possibly don't have to worry about getting a hard money loan or a conventional loan. So going through the ways to find buyers, you could put it up on Facebook. If you have a property, if you're the type to get a property first and you want to find a buyers, most of us, the easiest way is to put that property up on Facebook. And some of us will put all the information, some of us don't. You can put it into, you have a specific Facebook groups. I'm going to use Dallas-Fort Worth because that's one of my bigger markets. You can go on Facebook and you can find groups, investor groups like Dallas Investor Group, and you can post your property in that group. And you're going to get a ton of people that's, put it in the comments like, hey, send it to me. Hey, I'm interested. They'll put their email address and they'll do this and that. You'll probably get 20 something comments. Out of those 20 comments of people who are saying they're interested, you're probably going to get like maybe 1 or 2 responses. Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but it's a time waster, because mind you, once you have that property under contract, you are on your time bomb is ticking. Like your option period is going. So if you're relying only on that to get your buyers, if you're relying only on that to dispo that property, or if you're relying only on other wholesalers to dispo your property, oh, dang, I sent it to, I hear this a lot, oh, I sent it to Keegley, or oh, I sent it to New, or whoever, I sent it to them, and they couldn't get me a buyer. But okay, number one, it's not Keegley's fault. It's not who other wholesalers' fault that they didn't find you a buyer. It's your responsibility to have A+ buyers in your list. I'd rather have 5 to 10 A+ fast action taking buyers than 5,000, a buyer's list of 5,000. Y'all see that all the time. Oh, I have a buyer's list of 20,000 people. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Like, how many of them actually buy? 5? That's all I care about. I'd rather have 5 to 10 A+ buyers than 2,000 to 5,000 people on my buyers list who never take action and are called C buyers. I'm going to call them B buyers or C buyers. So how do you find that? You can go on LinkedIn. That's a way that you can find those types of buyers. And then those are hit or miss. I personally don't really do that method because now I have to wait for someone to respond. Again, your time bomb is ticking. If you have time, if you're just trying to build a buyer's list, that's a good way. You can pay money, a lot of money. There's companies like, I think it's Investor Lift. You pay like, I think it's thousands, it's in the thousands of dollars. So No. But you can pay thousands of dollars to put your property on investor list again, and hoping that someone will respond. You have no idea who's going to look at you. You have no idea who you're targeting, but you're hoping that someone might be interested in that property. And you spent thousands of dollars to do that. Again, it's a strategy that people use. Once you get bigger, once you've grown, once you're making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, maybe, you go that route. Now I'm going to get into like the ways that I love to do it. Number one, if you are local, if you do wholesaling in your market, say, you live in Houston, or you live in, let's pick a non-Texas city. I keep saying Texas. You live in Phoenix, and you are able to go see properties. Maybe you like going to see properties, or you have the ability to put your eyes on the property, or you have the ability to meet with buyers one-on-one. Number one, I would not recommend taking a buyer, hey, let's go to coffee. If they're real buyers, they should be busy. So let me share my screen. Hopefully I can get this technology right. And I'm going to share my entire screen with you guys. All right, so one way that I like doing this is by looking up foreclosures. Now I live in an area called Bryan College Station. One way that you can actually look up buyers or find A+ buyers is, let me stop sharing this for a moment because I actually want to see you guys. One way you can find A+ buyers is by going to auctions. If you can actually go to an auction, that is how you are going to find A+ buyers. Those are buyers, mind you. If a property is on auction, and a buyer is there to bid on that property, the rules of an auction is that they have to have the cash in pocket to actually pay. Like they have to be able to pay for that property right then and there. So if you go to that, hey, there's an auction coming up, and I'll show you just in a second how to find out if auctions are coming up. If you go to that property and you're able to, or you go to that auction, you have to get there early, number one. When you get there early, you want to scope out and see who's there. You want to talk to those individuals who are there, introduce yourself saying, hey, I'm so-and-so. I see someone says many auctions are virtual. Yes, they're virtual, but you can't meet the people face-to-face if you're going to virtual auctions. So be there. If you're going to the auction and you get there early, you meet the investors that are there, say, hey, I'm a new investor around here, doing some marketing, trying to get some properties out of my pocket, trying to get some properties to some investors out here. Do you mind if I consider, this is a key word, do you mind if I consider you as one of my buyers? Why do I say consider you? Because you're telling them like, you don't want to come off as you're begging. You don't want to come off as you're pleading like, oh, I need you. No, I'm like, hey, I want to consider you as one of my buyers. Do you mind if I just get your information? And that tells them, oh, you want to consider me? Well, hey, I'm worth it. They'll give you their information. And just don't talk to them long. Number one, because the auction is going to start. You don't want to be talking to them while the auction is going. So don't talk to them long, get their information, move on. Now, while you're there, watch who's actually taking action. Watch who's actually bidding on the properties. And then once it's done, talk to them a little bit more. Just see what's happening. Now, if you don't live in that area, hopefully you have boots on the ground. Hopefully you have someone that can be there and do stuff like that for you. But yeah, those are literally action-taking buyers. They have cash in pocket. They're not even waiting for hard money or private money. They have to have cash in pocket. So those are the people that you want on your list. Those are your A+ buyers. How do you find out if an auction is going on? I'm just going to show you this really quick before I get into the really, really good stuff. This actually went to our county's website. You look up foreclosures. And for example, the month of March, let me share my screen because I don't think I'm sharing it with you guys. All right, so if you click on the month of August, if I go here, I can see the foreclosure notice. Can everybody see my screen? Hopefully, see in the chat. Say yes if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So you can actually see, like this one here, the foreclosure auction was happening August 2nd at 11 a.m. I don't care about the property address, so I'm not going for the property. I'm going for the buyers. So if I see, and this lists all the foreclosures that are happening, the auctions that are happening. So they all should have August 2nd. I know, okay, I need to be there probably about 10:30 on August 2nd. And those usually happen at the county courthouse. So that's one way that you can find cash buyers, A+ cash buyers. All right, we good on that? Now,
Brittany,
yes.
somebody asked, what site are you on? Sorry if you mentioned it before.
So I was actually on, I just actually Googled my county. So I live in Brazos County. I Googled Brazos County foreclosures. And if you Google Brazos County foreclosures, if you Google Dallas County foreclosures, or whatever foreclosures or whatever county you're in, if you Google the foreclosure site, it'll pop up and you just click on the link. It should take you right there. Hey, Adam. So I'm going to be really active in this chat. He says, I struggle like hell talking to buyers. I love sellers, so this helps tremendously. So if buyers are a different breed, like they're a little pompous. They're not all of them. Let me phrase, because I'm a buyer. People, you have really nice buyers. Some of them feel very privileged. Some of them feel like they can tear your comps to pieces, all of the above. But how do you talk to buyers? Just talk to them like they're a normal person. However, you have to talk to them with confidence. You have to be confident in what you're saying. You have to be confident in how you're saying it. And you have to be confident in the way that you comp properties. If you are not great at comping properties, there are people that will comp them for you, but you have to be confident when you call and speak to a buyer. Build a relationship with them. That's literally number one. I have a guy on my team. He's amazing. And he was actually cold calling. He actually came across a buyer, and I'm going to show you guys some of that stuff. And the follow-up, I have my acquisitions lead team follow up on the cold calls, and the guy ended up being a buyer. He was like, I get these calls all the time. And I want you to know that the initial gentleman who called me, he goes, he was great. He goes, he spoke to me. He spoke to me clearly. He had a conversation with me. You have to have conversation. Don't be a robot. You have to have real conversations with these people. Like, hey, so just tell me, what have you done? What do you like about this area? How did you like the turnout of your last flip? Oh, cool. What would you have done differently? Like, just talk to them. Don't just be like, hey, can I put you on my list? Like, no. Don't give them an opportunity to say no. Be a real person. All right. So going back, let's talk about now. A lot of you most of you do wholesaling virtually. So if you're doing wholesaling virtually, obviously you can't go to the courthouse and do the auction or meet investors at auctions. And if you're like me, I don't like running to the courthouse. So even though I do wholesaling in my market, even though I do wholesaling, 2 hours away, I could go, but there's a better way, an easier way to find A+ buyers. Now I'm gonna tell y'all a story before I get into this. I had a property under contract. It went under contract in May. All right. And the seller had to go through probate. So, papers had to be signed before title would do anything. Had to get an affidavit of this, blah, 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 blah. So we were supposed to close. We went under contract May 10th. We're supposed to close May 27th. Time goes by. By June, we're still extending the contract. Now, by the time the seller got probate all cleared, come to July, early July, now the buyer, the market shifted. So by that time, the buyer's lender said, I don't know if we can lend to you on this property anymore. We need to see more. We need to see that you have more reserves. We need to see this. The lender wanted more proof before they would lend on this property that they had no problem lending on in May. But now we are in July with the market shift. Now the lender's like, okay, I need more. So come towards the end, the close day, literally is the day of close. And I get a call saying from the buyer saying, my lender's not going to lend on this. We can't close. Has anybody ever had that happen? Mind you, it's things happen. So I'm not a quitter, and I will win. I will win. So I'm like, all right, plan B. I need a buyer, and I need a buyer really fast. So I'll call the seller, tell them the situation. I was honest with them. I'm like, hey, from the time of May to now, market has shifted. Seller actually knew we were wholesaling. I said, and even if the seller doesn't know you're wholesaling, hey, lender won't lend on this at this point. And I told her, I said, you have two options. You can either, I know you guys have been waiting a really long time to sell this. You can just go ahead and put it on the market. I mean, I have no problem with that. I really, I apologize to them. I said, or I can find you a buyer. Mind you, I didn't know I could. I mean, I knew I could, but I didn't have a buyer. So I can find you a buyer that will close next week. She goes, okay, let's do it. Let's keep it on. She goes, and actually it was her mother who was the seller. She goes, my mom trusts you. So I'm gonna show you guys what I did. Privy, y'all. Cherry on top, it wasn't even a big city. Like it was like small town, maybe, I don't know, 5,000 people in the town. So imagine finding a buyer in this area. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to find a buyer that's going to buy in this rural area? Privy, y'all. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did. All right. So go back to sharing my screen. Let me type in the address for you here first. I want to get the property up. I'll show y'all a real life example. All right. Everybody see my screen? I'm assuming you can. Good.
Yes, I just put it up there.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So this was the property. All right. And I needed a buyer. I don't know if any of y'all from Texas, this is Madisonville, Texas, y'all. It's somewhere in between Dallas and where I live, College Station. And yeah, there's a Buc-ee's off the highway though, if y'all know about Buc-ee's. All right. So there's the property. And I was like, okay, I need a buyer in this rural area. So what did I do? I clicked on deals. And I wanted to see anyone who has ever fixed and flipped in this area. Sometimes I usually have to go and click out a little bit. So I may have to log back into Privy. All right, y'all, give me a second. Let me log out and log back in.
Hey, Brittany, I just bounced in if you need any assistance there.
No problem. I've had to do this a couple of times. I can be patient. And actually, y'all get to see a full, if y'all have never seen Privy, y'all can see like a full landscape view of what Privy looks like. How are you, Benson?
I'm great. I'm great.
Y'all, Benson is amazing. Like, he's like always there. All right, so it's not
Let's
pulling
zoom out a bit. What criteria did you use to search for that?
So it's stuck here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to see someone who's the fix and flips.
Okay. Do a longer timeline. That might help. Just do like all, and then zoom out a little bit, and just to see that we're getting some hits, because there might not be any there like right now.
Interesting.
Zoom out a little bit, would you? I just want to see what hits you're getting.
Yeah, sometimes I have to completely log out of Privy. Just depending on how long I've been sitting. Sometimes I go idle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Technology, be patient. And if I can't do it with this one, I can show y'all with another.
Yeah, try clicking from the top. Go ahead and click fix and flip, and then just zoom in on that area.
Let's see.
So what she's looking at right there, you guys, when she clicked fix and flip from that high level, she was looking at every fix and flip that happened in the
Boom.
US that
There
happened in
we
the last 12 months, and she can adjust that time frame.
All right, so as I zoom in, you can see like, well, now we can see. So now, y'all, and then this is where I tell y'all, like, don't be discouraged if you end up with a property that you're like, oh, okay, I at least got it under contract, but there's no. I really always encourage you to buy properties where there's a lot of buying activity, unless you can get something for a really, really good deal. Now, y'all, look at this. There are 2 investors. Two, not hundreds, 2. But I would not have found this without Privy. So I think this was the property. And what I did, I clicked on the property, and I had to go and see who were the investor, who were the individuals who bought this property. So I went to property history, and you can do a lot of things. I actually searched the buyer, and Benson actually has a really cool YouTube on this, where you go to True People Search, and I looked up this individual's name, and I sent them a quick text message. That individual didn't respond. And so, of course, I sent the message to this guy too. And again, I went down here, found the property history, found who bought it. Now, the seller, the individual who ended up flipping it, because I can tell they flipped it because they bought it in May and they ended up selling it in November. No regular individual is going to buy something and live in it for 6-7 months. So what I did, I copied the company name, went to open corporates,
Yeah, you can also just do like a quick Google search, and sometimes you'll find a website or a Facebook group, but open corporates oftentimes will pop up.
Yeah. So when I went to open corporates and I found that the company name, I actually ended up finding the officer of the company. This is in Texas.
Not
so once I found the officer,
Tajikistan.
yeah, Tajikistan. I didn't even know that was a place. Open corporates apparently can help you anywhere across anywhere in the world. So once I found the officer of the company, I then searched up that individual, sent them a text message. I was like, hey, I have a property in Madisonville. I see you did a flip there. Are you interested? I didn't give him any information. I just want to, hey, are you interested? Let's see. And how do I know this is the actual person or the actual company? Well, I know Caldwell is close to Madisonville. So I'm like, okay, so this has to be the individual. It's like, I don't know, 20 minutes away from Madisonville, but this has to be the right company. And his name is Dustin. Now, I've been talking to Dustin all along. Sent Dustin a text message. Dustin responded to me. He told me, send me what you got. And I sent it to him, and he said, okay, can I go look at it? Told the seller, I was like, hey, I have you a buyer lined up. Can I just let him go look at it? He goes, looks at it, gives me his offer, and done, sold, had the buyer lined up, and we closed on it the following week. Like, that's without Privy, y'all, I could not have done that. There is no way I would have been able to find a buyer in an area like this at all. I don't know buyers in Madisonville. And Madisonville is like the most, look at that. The closest big city is, oh gosh, where? It's far. So that was pretty cool. I just wanted to show you guys that proof of concept.
Well, and all those other areas there, like in that bottom left, was that Austin there? Like there's quite a bit of investor activity there, right? So that's where you would have targeted if you had a choice, right? Or Dallas Fort Worth.
Yeah, you have Austin, you have Waco, but I mean, they're a good, 2.5, 3, still good 2.5 hours, 2 hours from Madisonville. It takes me an hour and a half to get from Austin to College Station. So yeah, that's how far out you have gone. And think about how much time it would have taken to have a buyer to schedule time to go and look at the property. Whereas I found this individual lived like right up the street, lived 40 minutes away. So yeah, that's one way you can do. You could actually call and target. And let me see you guys again. I know y'all want to see my face. So, so you can actually call and target the actual investor who you have, who will buy in that area, who has bought in that area. And it was freaking gold. Like, and I felt so happy, not just because to get the deal. I felt so happy to just be able to find this seller a buyer after all they'd gone through. You know, there's a reason why they had to go through probate. And yeah, and cool nugget. One of my, I'm gonna give you a shout out. They're in the chat as Orderly Strength. He actually helped me in really navigating the additional step of True People Search is gold. And y'all, if y'all haven't watched that YouTube video that Benson put out, I don't know if there's a link. It's awesome. It really helps. All right, so that's one way. You can contact the buyer directly. Now, here's another way. Let me pull up another address for you guys, and I want to show you guys a full way to go through. And we may actually see if we can get someone on the line. I may do that. All right, so this is a property. I'm not sharing my screen yet. This property I'm going to show you guys. It's a property that I have under contract. And again, I want to look for a deal. I want to look for fix and flips in the area. Once I get it pulled up, I'll share it with you guys. You guys learning anything? Is this valuable? And let me hit up with some questions, because I do want to answer some questions while we have time on here. I definitely want to be able to answer as many questions as possible. So if you'll have questions, put them in there. Let's see. Yes, Privy is a game changer, y'all. There's that YouTube link that I'm referring to. All right, so Vincent, I'm going to zoom out to the entire US, and I'm going to look up fix and flips. And y'all, if people tell y'all that there are no buyers and nobody's buying right now, that's a freaking lie. All right. So one thing, whenever you're using Privy, I don't know how many of you guys have Privy. I've taught my older son how to utilize it. And whenever you're going through it, you often have a time where you can see the listing agent's name. You can see the transactions. And that's actually what I'm going to show you guys. So Benson, I'm actually having the same issue that I was having before. And it could just be user error.
Yeah, I saw that when you were looking at open corporates, it was spinning a bit. Like if your internet is
yeah, I'm kind of worried about the internet. Usually when we're streaming on StreamYard and sharing the screen, it's just a little bit slower. So just bear with us, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, in the meantime, guys, while Brittany's pulling that up, yeah, so she's absolutely right. There's lots of ways to build a buyer's list, and just with respect to Privy, you know, she's going to show you too how you can find buyers in areas. That's one of the things that's proprietary about Privy, is that when you pull a property up and you're comping it, you can either type the property in, or you can just, you know, circle an area that you like that is where your properties are located, and you can see all the buyers in that area. You can see the fix and flip buyers, and then you can learn a lot about those buyers by looking at the properties they just closed. So you can see the property they purchased, what they bought it for, what they sold it for, their gross margins. But also, in Brittany, I would love for you to comment on this, the percentage of ARV they bought it at. Like, is that valuable for you to be able to see that they bought a house at 65% of the ARV last month?
Oh, man. So a couple of things with that. You can see what they bought it at, which also helps you to figure out if you haven't locked up a property. Like if you have a property that you're considering, it will help you to understand where you need to lock that property up. So if you search, say if you're thinking about buying, you know, all right, I have this great deal. I don't know what to lock it up at. Should I lock it up? You go into Privy and you put in that address, and you look at the people who have fix and flip, and it shows you, number one, it shows you what they did to the property. You can see the before and after. So that kind of gives you an idea of like how much they put into this property. And after you see that, you're like, okay, so they put X amount of dollars into this property. And then you can see what they bought it at. So if you see, oh, they bought this property at $90,000. Oh my gosh, I'm actually in, I can get this property locked up at 80,000, or, you know, then you know you have a deal because you have a buyer that's going to buy at that price.
But you would know otherwise unless you already talked to them. And, you know, sometimes it takes a while to build that relationship to where they'll just divulge their full buy box, right?
Right. Exactly. And you have to, like, when you're trying to deal, you know, get a buyer's buy box, mind you, these people are busy. Like, they are very busy. They are trying to, run their business. They're trying to get things going. They're trying to have, you know, they have flips going. They have, they're dealing with their own employees. So if they're dealing with all of that, then I'm not going to say they don't have time for you, but they don't really have time for you. So when you're like, hey, send me your buy box, drop me your fingers. So hope they send me their buy box. Whereas you can just go and figure out, oh, this is what these people are buying at in this area. This is what this person bought it in this area.
Guys, I was just gonna say, Benson, maybe you can share your screen and drive for Brittany, and we can search for some buyers and call them.
Yeah, Benson, maybe you might need to take the drive because it's
Yeah, Benson, your Wi-Fi is usually really strong on these streams, so if you don't mind, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't at all. Let me go ahead and do this for us, and we'll look in. Did you want to look at a specific property, Brittany, or do you just want to look at in general?
All right, Benson, you want me to put the address in the chat here for you?
Actually, I'll just take it from you here in a second.
Oh, there you go. All right, let me know when you're ready.
All right, what's the address?
All right, 1409 Melanie Lane.
Mesquite?
Yep.
Okay. So is this a property you wrote an offer on?
Yes, we actually just got it under contract yesterday.
Perfect. Amazing. So the property needs some work. You got good comps here, lots of solid comparables. The cool thing about this market for you is that you got direct to MLS data. So you don't have to deal with that non-disclosure situation in your target market.
Yeah.
All right. And then what did you want to show next?
So I know at the top you can actually see the deals button. When you click on the deals button, it'll actually show you the fix and flip activity in that area.
It will. So right now we're looking at a specific property. So there's another couple ways to do this, Brittany.
Well, I actually want to target that area.
Right. Well, we can do that by looking at the house itself. So if we're in the CMA for the property itself, and then we come down and we look at the investor activity by clicking investor activity checkbox here.
Yep.
It shows all the fix and flips that are in this area by clicking investor activity. And then what we can do is we can make this zone larger. So if we draw a larger zone here, and we can make this as large as we want, but then we can center it around the property while we're looking at it.
Yep.
So look, these are all properties in the area that were fix and flipped.
Yeah. So, and honestly, like, I mean, this is great. And I love this method as well. I really wanted to show, because I love, and then maybe you can show it on here, you know, a way on the left side where you can actually see the pictures of the properties. Because one thing that you have to be careful of whenever you're using this method and you're doing it, there's sometimes homeowners will have bought their property and you're looking at the image and you're like, oh, this is a really nice remodel. It must be a flipper. Well, you have to make sure that you go into the property and see when the last sale and transaction happened. Because some homeowners get really, really ambitious and they're like, hey, this is a good market right now. Let's completely remodel our house that we've lived in for 10 years and put on the market. They're not necessarily flippers. They're just homeowners who decided to, remodel their home and sell it. So that's one thing you have to, that I did want to show you guys, you just have to be mindful of. It's doing the same thing you there. But whenever you do see a property that that is a flip, then you can actually click on the property. And what I'd like to do, what I mentioned to you guys earlier when I called the actual investors who had done a flip there previously, one thing that I like to do even better is to call the agent who listed the property. And I say, hey, I have a property under contract that I think your investor, and I'll give them the address, I give them the location. You're probably familiar with the area. You had an investor who actually just sold a property here. Do you mind sending it over to them? And they're usually like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And you tell them about the property, and they're like, yeah, I'll give it over to them right away. And then sometimes, because that agent is very versed in working with investors, sometimes they'll go the extra mile and be like, hey, I actually have a few other investors who might be interested as well. Do you mind if I send it to them? Now, you don't only have one buyer, you have an agent who's sending it out to multiple investors who they know invest in that area.
Exactly. So here's those properties, right? So I used your method. So I just kind of went into the area, and then like here are those fix and flips. Like you said, you want to look at the photos, right, to make sure. And then you can see that the agents are here for these. If you want to do that agent outreach, like you said, each one of these agents is investor friendly because they represented a fix and flipper, right? So they've done at least one investor deal that we know of, which is more information that we would typically have about an agent.
And you guys look at these properties, you can tell from the exterior, these are flips. Benson, can you show them the before and afters?
Yeah. Yes, this is one that was flipped. It's 8435 Del Monte, sold for 260. At the top of this report right here is called our comparative market analysis. This is what comps properties out. And earlier, Brittany, you were talking about comping properties out and how it can be a challenge, and you want to make sure that you're confident in that. Well, that's one of the benefits of using Privy, is that the algorithm automatically comes in and pulls comparables for you using the real-time MLS data in this Dallas-Fort Worth area to show you the real-time solds. And then down below that is the before and after.
Yeah. And so then, like Benson mentioned earlier, you can actually go and see what the seller or what the buyer purchased this property at. Now, remind you, one amazing gold nugget, those of you who are in non-disclosure states, you can't go on Zillow or realtor.com and find out what a property sold at. You can't. It's a non-disclosure state. I need to do deals in Texas all the time. Whereas Privy, as long as they have access in that MLS data, you can see what the property actually sold at. So you can see what the flipper, what they purchased it at, and then what they sold it at.
Mm-hmm. So they bought this property from the MLS at 50% of the after repair value.
Yep.
They added a couple bedrooms, bathroom.
And then look and see, like, if you look at the property, you can see what they did to it. If you scroll up a little bit there. So, I mean, this is a full, almost a full gut, windows, roof, all interior. I'm pretty sure it needed everything. So it made sense what the property, their purchase price made sense. Now, okay, I need to lock this property up at, X amount of dollars. Now, what I want to do is let's see if we can contact the listing agent.
Yeah, Yesenia Perez.
All right, so I'm going to look up Yesenia Perez, y'all.
I can Google her from here as well. So what I like to do is just highlight it and then use the search Google. When you right click, and it'll just pull it up. And here she is. And you want a phone number?
Yep.
Her number's 214-560-8838. Yesenia.
All right, we're calling Yesenia.
Del Monte.
Sometimes if agents don't answer, I'll call them twice and then I text them. Because sometimes maybe they really are still working. They might be in a closing. Some of them they just don't answer, y'all. But once you send them a text message saying, "Hey, you know, yada yada yada,"
please leave your message.
all right, I'm gonna text Yesenia, guys, and if she calls back while we're still doing this, say, "Hey, Yesenia." I have a sell to your investor whose property you listed. What was that address again? Del Monte?
Del Monte Drive.
Del Monte Drive. Can you call me back? All right. And what that triggers for her is, oh my gosh, I have another, automatically she knows, hey, this investor's probably going to list with me again. So that's more money in her pocket. And I mean, agents, that's what they care about. They care about money. Let's try another one.
Oh,
So guys,
sorry. One thing, I saw a bunch of questions and they were asking Britney, how does that agent that you call, how do they get compensated for that deal?
that's a great question. Okay, so if I bring this agent this deal, one golden thing is that I don't have to compensate this agent if I don't want to, because this agent isn't relying on me to compensate them. I'm bringing them a lead for them to give to their investor. So in their mind, they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to send this deal to my investor. I'm going to give you two ways to do this. I'm going to send this deal to my investor because I know I can probably represent my investor. And if the agent decides to represent the investor, now I have to then keep in mind that my seller's probably going to have to pay commission, which my seller probably isn't going to want to do. So I have to be upfront with the investor, like, hey, I don't need, I'd actually rather just give this directly to your investor. And if you choose to, don't use the word finder's fee or referral fee ever to an agent. But if you choose to give, the investor or the real estate agent a thank you, their mind isn't necessarily going to be around, hey, I'm going to represent and get commission on the front end. Their mind is going to be around, I'm going to represent my investor on the back end once they finish the flip. And that's one thing you just want to be upfront with as you get into, I wouldn't talk about it at the very beginning of the conversation. Your first thing is you want the agent to send the deal to their investor. And after you get that, that initial conversation going, I just tell them like, hey, I usually just work directly with investors. I usually just assign these to buyers. I understand that this is your investor that you work with. How about this? Yeah, I can just start sending you a lot of my deals that I get under contract, and that way you can send them to your investor, and I'm sure your investor is going to use you to list them. You just want to be upfront and explain that to the agent. And it's again about building relationships and being honest 100%, because you don't want to put your seller in a situation where they have to pay commission. Now, on another side, and I like to do this a lot because again, it's about relationships. If I have an agent that I know is going to bring me a buyer, and I know there's a bit of spread, it's almost as if you're JVing with this agent. Now, JVing, those you don't understand what I'm talking about. It's whenever you do a deal with a wholesaler or a micro flip or whatever, you typically will split compensation. What I will often tell agents who bring me buyers is I will compensate you as from my assignment. And so what we do, I give them a compensation agreement. We have a compensation agreement between my company and the listing, or not the listing, and the buyer's agent, mind you, because they're bringing me the investor. And it's not commission that's paid by the seller. There's no commission written on the purchase contract. It's a compensation agreement between my company and the agent that's paid out at title. And so that compensation agreement, here, let me just show you guys what that looks like. That compensation agreement tells title hey, compensate this agent this amount of money. And so y'all are gonna love this. And I'm happy to share this with you guys.
Yeah, this is a great idea. Even if it's just a little bit, just to show good faith, right? Even if
Yeah.
it's a thin deal, like that'll help them keep coming back, because then they won't have a bad feeling in their stomach about you, and then they'll want to work with you in the future, even if it's just a little bit.
Yes. So this is what that looks like. It's a compensation agreement for assignment of contract. This is between my company and whoever the agent is. And it has both of our contact information on here. And we list the subject property there. You know, you have your parcel number, and it says Fortified Properties, my company, agrees to compensate the agent's name in the terms below. And here's where it gets really cool. So, and sometimes I'll just have what the compensation is going to be. But if there's a situation where the agent's like, you know what, no, I want commission on this. So it's like, all right, fine. Well, you could get like half of my assignment. And you know, if that's a 30K deal and you or 30K assignment fee and you can get 15K, then awesome. People are like, Brittany, why would you give away half of your assignment? Well, because I know I can work with that agent many, many, many more times, and that 15K is going to turn into 50K. So this is the wording, if party B being the agent, if they have commission that is greater than 2%, they will not receive any portion of my assignment fee. If their commissions are 2%, we do 2. So anything greater, meaning 2.5, 2.1, 3%, they will not receive anything. Now, if they say, well, I want 2% commission, and I'll give them 30. You can scale this however you want. If they're agreeing to 0% commission, then I'll give them 50% of my assignment fee. And again, you can make those numbers whatever you want, but to answer your question, this is how you can compensate an agent that you want to build a relationship with who is bringing you a buyer. Heck, you can use the same thing for an agent who is bringing you an off-market deal. Because sometimes that question comes up. Well, how, if the agent's bringing me off-market deal, how do I compensate them without paying commission from the seller? This is a great tool, and I love this tool.
That's amazing. Yeah, thanks for showing that. I've heard about those before. I've just never seen one.
Yes. So going back to using Privy to find buyers, is this another property that was flipped, Benson?
Yeah, so this is another one, but I wanted to point this out too, where it's not as uncommon as a lot of people think that they don't expect to get paid on the front end, because a lot of buyers are buying stuff off market, right? So they're used to getting stuff off market for people and listed on the back end. So it isn't like you're teaching them a whole new concept. Most investors or most agents that are investor friendly know that this is a thing, because if their buyers out there doing marketing or driving for dollars or whatever, then they know that they can list that property in the back end. So you don't have to really convince them much that it's something that's new, right? This is a perfect example. Like, they got this market directly from the seller for 64% of the ARV, mind you, not some really deeply discounted property. And then they were able to list it on the back end and get 2.5%. And this agent's Roger Lopez, so he understands that. And so why don't we call him?
Yep, let's get a number. And guys, also, this doesn't even have to be for fix and flips. One of the things in Privy as well, you can also see who your buy and hold buyers are as well.
100%. So here's details. 214-850-7764. Roger Lopez.
All right, we're calling Roger. What's the property address again? Cyan
Road. Cyan.
It's Tuesday, right? Agents work on Tuesdays, don't they?
Remember what time zone you're in.
Voicemail for value property.
Nope, no answer from Roger.
Wow, these agents.
That's another thing you guys are gonna come across too. But let's see this one. That looks like a really nice flip. Oh, that's a really nice one.
let's see this person. Can you pronounce that? Yichao?
Yichao Wang. One thing too, like, so while Benson is doing this, I did want to point this out. Whenever you're working with, whenever you're finding deals this way, whenever you're getting properties that are listed on the market, the buyer may, they may question it, like, well, this property is on the market. Well, your job when you're getting properties that are listed on market is to get those properties at a good enough discount that they don't care that it's on the market. So that's one key thing. Do not send your buyers properties that are, and you're offering them a price at, 5, 10K below the list price. You have to get it well enough discounted for them to even think about, doing a deal with you. All right, let's call.
So this says maybe her name's Nancy. It might be Yichao. They're both with the same company. It's U Property Management. They could be partners, sisters. I'm not really sure, but here's the number for somebody named Nancy.
And let's call Nancy. And this will be the last call I do, because there's some other things I want to show you guys once you're building your buyers list, and how we keep track of our buyers list, and how we keep track of like our A buyers and B buyers. And once we get those people stacked up, how we send those things out. Because agents aren't working today.
Hello?
Hi, is this Nancy?
Yes.
Hey, Nancy, my name is Brittany. I have a property that I have under, I'm trying to sell. I'm trying to find a buyer for, and it's in Mesquite. And I see that you had an investor that just sold one. They flipped one and sold it back in July on Red Mill Lane. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
So is your investor, is he looking for other properties right now? Because I have one I'm trying to find a buyer for.
Oh, sounds good. Can you send me the text message of and also is it on MLS already, or if it's off market, just send me the infos.
Yeah, it's actually off market. And I do have a question. So how did they feel about the turnout when they flipped the property on Red Mill Lane? Were they happy with the flip, or did they have like concerns, or did it turn out pretty good?
Red Mill, it was just okay. It was not a great one, but it was okay.
Okay. Was it just how, like, what they sold for after, or was it just like the stuff they had to put into it, or what?
I think they didn't sold it what they expected, but it was somewhere close there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll send you the information. Hopefully they're interested in it. And do you work with a lot of investors where, like, if they're not interested, you have others that you could send it to?
Yeah, sure. I will refer it
Okay.
to other people too.
Amazing. Thank you, Nancy. I'll shoot that text over to you now.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And there y'all go. So that's how you want to have those conversations. Let them know, hey, I have a property available. You don't have to give them any details. You don't have to send it to them. You don't have to give them the address. You just want to know if they have somebody ready to go and make that purchase. So
that was
awesome.
Her ears like perked up when you said that. She was like, oh, great. Wow.
And it's different from calling agents when you're trying to, do agent outreach, because agent outreach, you're asking them, hey, can you send me properties, so I can buy it? Now you're telling, hey, I'm sending you a property. So it's so simple. It's so simple. So yeah, I wanted to give you guys an example of how that happens, how that can happen. But what do you do when you have buyers? How do you store your buyers? How do you keep track of your buyers? How do you send them more? Like, once you have a buyer that's buying in a certain area that you're going to do multiple deals in, how do you keep track of them? How do you send them more deals? So I'm going to show you guys a couple of things that we do with our team. Again, I'll share my screen with you. So I mentioned I have a team. I have 2 acquisition specialists who do a lot of our cold calling. And when they do our cold calling, sometimes they come across buyers, which is awesome. The list that we use for our cold calling and let me preface this. Cold calling is actually a method that we just started really utilizing. Prior to that, we did a lot of agent outreach. But now that we're doing cold calling, we come across buyers. And there's the list that I pull are tired landlords or properties that are vacant. So when you're dealing with tired landlords, sometimes they're not looking for selling, but they're like, hey, I'm a buyer. What do you have? And so if my team, if they're getting a property under contract, we use Close as our CRM. They're going to, enter the property. These are all of our leads that we have, by the way. It's pretty insane. These are the properties that are leads as if someone is selling. Now, if they come across a buyer, they put that lead in and they put the information of the property. Use another one for you. And they just mark it as, so we have different statuses in our pipeline. They mark it as a buyer, and Close will put that as a smart view. So all my buyers will go into this section. Now, once the buyers go into this section, now these are cold call buyers. I then go and pull these buyers out, because this is Close. I don't use Close to keep up with my buyers. We use it for our acquisition side. So I then go and pull our buyers out, the new buyers that we've found through cold calling, unintentionally, by the way. And I then put them into our Podio. So in our Podio, in our contacts, this is where we keep all of our buyers. And this allows me to go and, now mind you, I don't like having, it's not like, oh, I have a huge buyers list. In my strategy, when we're trying to find buyers for a specific property, and I think Michelle and Paul, they're going to go through this as well, on how to streamline like your process tomorrow. Whenever I find a property, number one, send it to my A+ buyers, the ones I know are going to pay cash, can do it sight unseen, that can close fast, that aren't looky-loos. I'm going to send it to them first, and it's usually like 5 of them. It's a quick text message. After that, if they're like, I use their feedback as well. So if I get their feedback like as to why they can't buy it, I then try to think in my mind, okay, maybe I need to renegotiate this price with the seller. So I start renegotiating with the seller a little bit and just trying to see if we can get it a little bit lower. But at the same time, I then start sending it out to a few more of my buyers. And then it gets to the point where I'm I want to send it out to a massive buyers, or I just need to look at my contact list because I forget, okay, which buyers actually bought something recently. So in my Podio, we just keep all of our buyers, and it can filter as like, I have my A buyers and my B buyers. So I'm filtering all my A buyers, and I could further filter that by, if I needed to find buyers that are specifically in Texas, they're in the Dallas area, and I want them to be my, I've applied to, in the contact type, they're my A buyers. So I'm looking at all of my A buyers that are in Dallas. And that brings me here. So these are my buyers that have taken action and who give me some sort of feedback, and I know they are actually cash buyers. And then I keep notes on them as well. So you guys can actually find that valuable in a way to keep track of your buyers, because sometimes when you're just texting them, or if you're just using your phone to text message them, that's really, really hard to keep track of. Like, oh, okay, I have a deal under contract. How do I text them? How do I keep up? Or who do I text? That's a really, really great way to do that. So someone asked, is Close better than Podio? Eric, actually, I can't say one is better than the other. Again, I use them for different reasons. I use Close. My acquisitions team uses Close for all of our leads. And then I use Podio. Podio I use once the deal is under contract, or for my dispo side. And to that point, I love dispo. That's one thing that I will probably hold on to for a very long time, because I love building relationships with buyers. The acquisition side, I built a team to acquire the property and bring leads in. That way, all I have to do is deal with dispo. And you want to hold on to dispo. You want to have someone who's really, really good at building relationships and speaking to buyers on your dispo side. I would not do VAs for dispo. And it's a great network, especially as you start building out your real estate investing business. Those are the people, the buyers are the people that you want in your circle. Those are the relationships that you want. That's the networking that you want. Those are people you may even want to do deals with and buying your own future property. So I hold on tightly to Dispo, and I like having that in my pocket. Someone says, Brittany, do you use your cell phone or burner numbers for another, or a burner number from another service? Great question. If I am dialing and reaching out to agents or following up with the seller, I actually dial out through close and I text through close. However, if I have a relationship or if I really want a fast response or if it's a deal that I know is going to happen, I'll text from my phone just because close is a system where you are always you get onto your computer. So if I'm not near my computer, I'm at the gym, which I'm at a lot, or I'm working, then I want to be able to respond quickly, and that's going to come through my cell phone. My cold callers, they call through Mojo. Someone asked, I just saw a really, really good question. How do I define my A buyers and my B buyers? My A buyers, like I said, are the ones that I know take action. They're the ones who are giving feedback. They're not just saying, hey, can you send me information? They've usually taken action, or they have given offers on properties that I send out. That's how I define my A buyers. My B buyers are just people who I just want to keep in my pocket. They're the last people that I'll send deals to. And they're the last people that I will, like, if I'm okay, it's crunch time, anything goes. Those are my B buyers. If they buy something, they'll become an A buyer. They may get that privilege. I don't know. Chris says, can we get that contract? Yes, I will send that contract to Emily, and I don't know how we can get those things out, but I'm happy to. If you follow me on Instagram, Chris. No, I'm just kidding. I know you do. But no, guys, truly, I would love to see you guys take all this stuff to heart. So like I said, Jamil said in the beginning, those of you guys, you sign up for Privy, do that. And I would love to do some one-on-ones with you guys, send you guys the contracts that I have. Someone asked, sorry, I'm just going through these questions. So close versus REI reply. I've never used REI replies, Renee, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. Brittany, what do you use to comp in San Antonio since Privy isn't accurate for it? So like Vincent and we mentioned earlier, so Privy is like they have MLS access in certain markets. I know y'all, I feel your pain in Texas because it is a non-disclosure state. DFW, it's great for, but the ones, so if I'll still comp in Privy, but I do check my comps. I use Propelio for the markets that Privy aren't in, just because because the MLS data isn't inside of Privy. So the other one, if I can't get a comp in Privy, I'll use Propelio. And I'll just check back and forth. The one thing I do like those Privy, like I can see the befores and afters. So I'll try to get as much information from Privy as I can. Someone says, how do you pay your acquisitions team? They get paid from the contract. So if they close, so I have acquisition specialists and I have acquisitions leads. So my acquisition specialists, if they get a property, if they bring in the lead, and my acquisitions leads, I call them the closers. They get compensated a percentage of the assignment fee once the deal closes. And boom, bang, done. Oh, thank you. So how do you deal with proof of funds on acquisition? I put it in. So I mean, in the beginning, especially a lot of like when you're new and you're just getting into this, you're like, dang, you don't have EMD. I didn't have EMD. Like I didn't have $5,000 to go under contract, but you always want to make sure you have an option period. And so even now to this day, I mean, I have the money to put up for EMD, but like even now to this day, once that money goes out and EMD is in, I want to make sure that I have an option period. Because I want to make sure. I've gotten in trouble a few times where I have lost EMD, but I'm okay with that. At this point of life, it sucks to lose a couple $1,000s, but at the same time, once that money goes out, I actually almost imagine as if it's like it never even existed. It's hard to say that, I know, But if you're in the beginning and you have to put up EMD, one thing you can do is, again, always try to find a buyer first. You can have it pass through to where the buyer puts up the EMD and that goes in as EMD on your contract. But like I said, always make sure you have an option period. So if anything falls back or anything, happens, you get your EMD back. What do somebody answer that. Do you only use Privy for comps or batch? I actually don't use batch. I'm just being 100% honest and transparent with you guys. I use Privy, especially in the DFW market, and I use Propelio. Do you call the buyers directly? Yeah, let's talk about some buyer stuff. Do you call the buyers directly instead of calling the listing agents? Yes. So that's what I mentioned earlier in that deal that was in Madisonville. I searched the buyer. If it lists the buyer's name, you can search the buyer directly. If it lists the company name, then I search open corporates, and then I find the information about who the agents are that own that company. And then, y'all can do some detective work. You can look on True People Search. You can Facebook them. Facebook is awesome, though, by the way. Like if you search somebody on Facebook and you can find their profile, it's easy to find them. You can see what city they live in. You're like, okay, that's the person. Yes, I do contact the buyers directly, which is sometimes it's good because you don't have another middleman in place and you can get answers really quickly. To that point, if I reach out to the agent and I don't hear back from the agent, I'll follow up with them. But if I'm not hearing back from the agent, like, oh, they're not interested, or I just don't hear anything at all, then I'll follow up I'll find the buyer myself. I don't wait for anyone. You don't get rich and wealthy by waiting for anyone. Y'all keep that in mind. Do never wait for anyone, ever in life. Do not wait for anyone. So I never wait for the agent. I've given them a chance. I've given them an opportunity. They said they're going to do it. Did they do what they say they're going to do? No, then fine. I'll take care of it. Someone says, can you show a property in the fix and flip filter and show the pre-comps that come with that property? People are saying you can't use Privy to comp in Texas, and I use it. I guess I use it a lot. John, I think we showed that. Let me see. Vince, actually, I think now that we can look at it in the way that you showed, Benson, let me look at that really quick. Use that same property. Okay, so we looked at the comps. And let me see your question. Let's share the screen. All right, so the question was, can you show a property in the fix and flip filter and show the pre-comps that come with that property? I think I understand what you're asking. So if these are the comps, like you have the investor activity, let's look at investor activity that's sold. And this property is a 3-1, about, let's say 1,100, 1,200 square feet. So if these are the comps, are you asking, Benson, are you understanding what they're asking? Or Emily, do you understand what they're asking?
Not 100%, but it's just that in the areas where we don't have direct to MLS data, we've got third party and or public record. So like in El Paso, for example, then you may not have like bathroom data from there. I think in Texas, they omit a lot of bathroom data.
Yes.
You can still comp. It's just that the data comes from the county record. And so if they're not showing that price, then you're not having accurate information. But that's kind of the situation in those non-disclosure states. So this is why we've got direct to MLS in Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth. San Antonio is approved and coming soon. Houston will come. We just got approved for what's called the Central Texas MLS, which is kind of like in between, where that's at.
Yes.
So it's like, it doesn't cover any major cities. So I was like, why are we getting this one? But it's like
people like me that want it.
It's in between like Houston and San Antonio, right? Like that area is like
that's the market that I'm in. I'm Central Texas.
There you go. Well, that one just got approved.
Heck yeah.
So so you showed the comps are there, right? So it's just a matter of looking at those comparables. And if you've got a very unique property, and this is just real estate in general, this is not Privy, they're hard to comp, right? So if you have a house that doesn't have a lot of similar properties, then you have to get pretty creative on what a comp is. So you might have to go out, a couple miles if you're in farm community, or if you have a 1,000 square foot ranch and everything in the area is 2,000 square foot 2-story homes, then you got to get creative on comping, and that's just the business.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, guys.
So
What
a
was
couple.
that, Brittany?
No, I said there's actually some. I do want to get through as many really good questions in here. Oh, hold on. I don't know who G Fit is. It says just connected with the buyer using Privy. Thanks to Brittany. Woohoo! Awesome. Yay!
Nice.
Look, y'all, while we're on the call, they just connected to a buyer. If you have Privy already, can you still do the coaching session with you and get the contract form as well? If you already have Privy, yes, you can, Zena. Would you say that agent-owned listings are better or harder to work with? I'm assuming you're saying agent listings that are properties that are listed on MLS. I say it's twofold. I love, you don't have to do the deep work of trying to convince a seller to sell their property. Properties that are listed by an agent, as long as you're working with the listing agent, are really, really, I mean, most of the deals I do are through properties that are listed with an agent. It's just getting the property. You have to educate the agent. If it's not at a price that is an investor price, and that property needs like a complete gut, and they're trying to list it at the same price as the house down the street that has been flipped, you then have to have the confidence and the ability to educate the agent as to why this property is overlisted, and tell them it's going to cost this, 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 and this. And then that agent understands, like, oh yeah, crap. I actually had a property where it was a murder that happened in the house.
Oh, no.
and so they had a price that they wanted. I was like, okay, here's the deal. And I had to break it down to them, like, hey, this happened, this happened. Yeah, you have to educate the agent. And I wouldn't say it's harder. I actually think it's much easier in getting the property under contract, as long as you get it under contract at the right price.
I got a question for you, Brittany. So
Absolutely.
people, they have a problem. Some buyers have a problem buying something that's, maybe slightly below asking price or at asking price. And, we all know that agents are notorious for listing properties below market price, but just to generate an artificial bidding war.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you get it under contract at asking price, but it's still at 30% of the ARV. Like, why should that be an issue if it's still at a 70% discount, but you paid asking price or even over? How do you handle that?
Well, I honestly, I do not lock up I do not lock up properties, even if, because that's an argument I see a lot. They're like, well, even the list price, it's still it's at 65% ARV at what it's listed at. Again, thinking like the buyer's going to think, hey, I could have gone and done that. I could get it locked up at that price. Even so, if you can't get it at least another 20 to 30, again, I'm talking like if it's at a really good price already listed, if you can't get it another 30K below list price, I wouldn't waste my time on it, because you're just not going to find a buyer. You may have luck, but it will be really difficult to find a buyer who says, yeah, because they're going to search that property. And if you get it locked up, and here's another key. If say the ARV, say it's 300K and it's listed at 60% ARV. Probably is listed at 60% ARV. I don't know what the math is. I'm just going to throw it out there. Say it's $175,000. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is a deal. Okay, you got it under contract at $175,000. And it's listed at $175,000. Now you got to go find a buyer. You also got to make your assignment fee. So you're going to mark it up 10K. All right, I'm going to send out to my buyer. And I see these come through to me all the time. Like, no, you can't do this. You're going to send out to your buyer at $185,000. So you can make your assignment fee. But it's listed, their buyer's going to see it was listed at 175. So now you're selling me a property that's 10K over list price. Even though the numbers still work, the buyer still says, this isn't a deal. Like, you're selling me a property over list price.
Well,
so
on that one, that's a pretty thin deal, right? But like, if you can get it, I mean, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm finding stuff at 30 and 40%, getting under contract at asking price. and selling it to buyers with an assignment fee over asking price because it's such a deep discount based off the percentage of ARV. And I've educated the buyers on that. Like, listen, you can't get this property. I have it under contract, right? So if
Yes,
you
that's a
don't
good
want
point.
it, then I'll give it to somebody else. But when I add my buyers to my list, I basically lay that same scenario out for them at the very beginning. In this scenario, if I found a property that met all your other buying criteria, but it was at or slightly above asking price, would you have a problem with it? And I get them to say no. And then they're my A buyers.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on your market. It really
Mhm.
depends on your market. Depends on the type of buyers that you have. For the most part, just from my experience, you're not going to find a lot of buyers that are okay with that. It's even finding buyers that are okay with. You just have people that have like these blocks in their mind. You're like, no, I don't deal with properties that are listed. It's like, okay, whatever. But if you again, like you said, if you get it at a deep enough discount, key is a deep enough discount. You could have success with that. But what you said was key. You tell your buyers ahead of time. You get them to say, no, I don't have a problem with that ahead of time. So you could even get a situation or a scenario where you can, when you're categorizing your buyers, like you saw, like I do in a Podio, when you're categorizing your buyers, you can make that a category. Like, sorry, my kid is like, you hear that. Categorize them as MLS buyer, or just make a name for them.
Mhm.
I can send this to this buyer. But again, you have to set the stage ahead of time. You can't just go send it to your buyers who you already have and you have a relationship with, and just assume they're going to buy a property over list price.
Agreed, 100%.
Brittany, what is like the closest price you would market at compared to list price for it to be still considered a deal? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Depends on
I
the ARV and the percentage, right?
yeah, but like again, I just try to keep a clean rule of thumb. Whereas I do not market it any closer than 30%, or not 30K to the list price. So when I'm marketing it out, just my rule of thumb is that it has to be at least, at minimum, I have to send it out at minimum 30K below list price. That's just our rule of thumb that we keep straight across the board. It keeps things clean. It keeps things unquestionable, and it gives me a quick yes or no whether or not I want to put this property under contract. Other than hoping and guessing, like, oh my gosh, what if? I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is the price that I need to lock the property up at. This is the price that I'm going to market it out at. It just keeps the guessing out, and it makes me confident when I send it out to my buyers. Someone says, what, and you still have an 8 to 5 W2, how do you handle it? Yeah. Time management. I didn't say time management. I do a lot of schedule blocking. I get up pretty early. I usually try to get up on a good day. If I'm able to go to sleep on time, I try to get up at like 5. And I don't know if you guys read that book, Eat That Frog. I try to eat my frog early. So I try to do all of my things in my job. People don't get into the office until 8 o'clock. So if I can get a head start and I can work, 2 or 3 hours, hashing out emails, I do marketing. So getting stuff done. I take a chunk of that time doing that. And then I come in and do some of this, like, cause I usually like to step away from my computer. I don't like just sitting here all day. That's why I have these on. And I just get things done in blocks. As long as at the end of the day, the beauty about working from home, I don't know if it's the beauty, but I'm also able to just, if I'm, end of the day, jump back on my computer, get some stuff done. It's just, I don't even like the word balance. Just get it done. You know how much time you have in a day. You know what you have to get done. Just get it done without an excuse. I don't watch a lot of TV either, especially lately. So I just get it done. I'll answer a couple more questions. And then Emily, if you want to take it away. Brittany, how do we connect with you directly? There's my IG at the Britt Barryman. That's my IG, or you can just DM me. Give me some time to respond back. And there you go. Emily's put it up there. And Thank you, thank you guys very much. What do you use for skip tracing? The best system that I found for skip tracing, I wouldn't say the best. Again, depending on your market, Texas being a non-disclosure is a little bit different. Vincent, does Privy have any plans to come out with the skip tracing system?
We've thought about it. Skip tracing is in this weird legal gray area, and there's a good chance that it's going to go away. So we're wondering if it's a good business model to add it and then remove it, or put ourselves in any sort of legal liability. So right now, no.
Yeah. I use need to skip for the most part, and I found it to be pretty accurate. We get a lot of connections using need to skip. And I think there's also batch skip tracing. I've used that as well. Again, just depending on your market, because Texas being a non-disclosure, it's hard, one or the other. Where do you look for a great dispo agent? I'm my current dispo agent. I am the dispo agent. So I'm not looking for a dispo agent right now, but I would look for someone who is, if you're looking for a dispo agent, I would look for someone in the community, in a community that you're in a real estate investing community, who may be starting out, but who also wants to grow and join a team. You just want to get someone who's very well versed and who can actually have conversations with buyers. But like I said earlier, that's just something that I choose to hold on to because it's also part of my network. My dispo and buyers are part of my network now. I can do deals with them now. Yeah. I mean, there's so many great questions. I want to get through all
I
of them.
know. We gotta let Britney go, guys. You guys aren't
So-
gonna believe that she did this on her lunch break.
Yeah. Well, this is like, I was like, all right, I'll take my 2 hours or whatever, and I'm doing this for you guys.
Thanks for being
But
here.
no, I just
Brittany.
love giving back to you guys, giving back value. Again, if you guys have deals that you are trying to dispo in Texas, if it's DFW, Houston, San Antonio, Central Texas, I'm so happy for he's going to Central Texas. There's the link, fortifiedacq.com/dispo my deal. If you are interested in joining Astro, y'all, like I'm not saying it just because like, well, I probably am, but no, I'm saying it because it changed my life, y'all. So if y'all are like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what the process is. I don't even know what wholesaling is. Y'all, seriously, like, just get on a call with someone from the Astro community, like whether you sign up or not, whatever, like the community itself is going to help you just walk through, but just learn more about like what you can do. Like, it's changed my life. It just gives you confidence in going into this whole business. And yeah.
Britney, thank you so much. You showed us so many awesome methods today and helped so many people. And I just thank you. You are a light in this world. So.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank y'all. Hopefully you got some value. Again, don't be scared to call these agents and ask them for, to find you a buyer for your property. Just make sure you have the addresses and make sure you have something that you don't even have to have the property under contract. That's the thing. Don't give them an address. You're just finding out if there's buyers who are interested. So that's the thing you want to do. You want to find out, are there buyers that are interested in this area who are buying? Can I get their information, or can you give them my information? You just want to be on the radar, like, okay, awesome. I do have a buyer in this area. I can go ahead and lock this up with confidence. So there you go.
And guys, tomorrow we got Michelle and Paul. They're going to be deep diving in on their workflow, how they manage their company, how they did it as the one-man team versus to where they are now. So it's going to be relatable to everybody. If you are a one-man team or if you're ready to scale, it's going to be amazing. So Brittany's going to send over that compensation sheet that she does with the agents. I'm going to send it to all of you who already have Privy with us or those who signed up and took action on this challenge.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I just put the link one more time for you guys. Benson, thank you for being here.
Thank you. For those of you that do decide to sign up, I'm doing a training this Thursday. So if you guys want to jump on that training, would love to have you on there. We can dig more into Brittany's strategies in finding buyers and answering any other questions. But we'd love to have you there.
Yes, I look forward to doing some one-on-one coaching with you guys. So Let's go.
Yes. So we'll see you guys. Same place, same time tomorrow. I will email you guys the link an hour before and 10 minutes before.
Y'all
So-
don't want to miss tomorrow. Like if y'all are like oh my gosh, like y'all better be on tomorrow. Like I'm gonna be on tomorrow because Michelle and Paul, y'all, if y'all haven't heard them before, woo-hoo, yeah.
All right, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.